Hey, Jeff Cohn here with another episode of the Team Building Podcast, where we interview top team leaders, broker owners, and thought leaders from across the country. We have a great guest today in Mr. Jason Wilmot. Jason is an expert in retargeting ads and social media engagement and has worked with some really big names. We'll see if he's able to share those names with us today. But Jason, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's so funny. Every time I line somebody up to get on a show, they always ask, what are the questions that they need to be prepared for?
Yes.
And for everyone listening, and most people know this, we are an authentic podcast in the sense that I tell people, show up with your superpower, meaning share with us what are some of the things that you feel are your unique selling propositions when you're competing for business. So let's get right into your superpowers.
Yeah, happy to do it.
All right. What are we talking about today?
Well, we're talking about, I think to frame this up, so we're going to be talking about tracking, we're going to be talking about retargeting, and then sending inbound traffic. But I think to just frame this up the right way, it's just thinking correctly about online marketing.
Perfect. And obviously our audience consists of millions of real estate agents, real estate teams, broker owners, and probably even people in other real estate related industries. But the conversation we're about to have is not just specific to real estate, it's business 101 when it comes to online engagement.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, if you are marketing, if you have a marketing team, if you have a marketing budget, if you are spending money, your time, your energy online, this is applicable to you.
Perfect. I know a lot of teams, including our own, have spent tens of thousands of dollars. We're actually over $1 million in the last 10 years on Google ads. Mm-hmm. Nothing with retargeting. It all started off just, hey, let's go throw money at Google to run ads. And they split tested those ads over a long period of time to make sure we were having the smallest spend on getting our click. And then we push them to a squeeze page. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows what that is. Everyone's heard a lot about that and those strategies. But after meeting you a couple years ago, I was fascinated by your ability to use predictable analytics and artificial intelligence to engage the right people. And it's part of the Google ad strategy. It complements the Google ad strategy to incorporate a strong retargeting ad. So let's focus a little bit on retargeting and what that might look like for a real estate team that's considering using a service like yours or trying to figure it out on their own.
Sure. Well, I think the first thing to think about is, people have heard the term funnel, but I think where most digital marketers, where marketing teams, where I have fallen, where I've gone the wrong route is just you think from the top down. How do I get people into the funnel? How do I do it? But you have to think about, well, where's the money in your funnel? It's always at the bottom. And so the sales is at the bottom of the funnel. So rather than thinking trying to get more people in all the time, you need to think about, well, who is more likely to buy? Somebody who's never heard about me before, somebody who's clicked those Google ads, somebody who's clicked 5 Google ads, somebody who's checked you out, who's been to your page, who's filled out your form, or got close to filling out your form, but they bounced. So it's always wise to just start your thinking kind of at the bottom. And then what I found, over the past few years is just working with individuals in this space. It's people just don't understand that if you just put an ad back in front of them, if you just leverage retargeting, it's going to be your best ROI. I can't say that with absolute assurance, but to date, the clients that I've partnered with have revenued over $50 million at this point. And when I'm looking at the analytics, it's true every single time. Your best money spent is always on retargeting.
Of course. And this is so fascinating. And the reason why I've noticed, and I'm sure everyone listening has noticed, if they're on Amazon and buy a product, or they're literally, if I go to a specific restaurant in my city, I'll start to notice ads coming at me based on the product I just recently purchased on Amazon, or literally I ate at a really nice restaurant in Omaha last night, a steak restaurant, and I saw an ad today on my Facebook page for this restaurant. And I'm like, oh, did I miss out on a discount? And then I thought to myself, of course they knew I was in their restaurant because there's geotagging. Mm-hmm. And I never signed up for anything. I never gave them my information, maybe my credit card. I don't know if they're linked to that. But it's so fascinating. I 100% agree with you. I think you're going to get a 10x return on investment off of a retargeting ad versus bringing somebody into the funnel. Obviously, both of those are necessary, but that retargeting ad is key. So what are some of the strategies that you've implemented with some of the clients you've worked with to generate that $50 million in revenue from the top-down funnel strategy?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So I think before you hop into retargeting or even top-down, there's one essential piece that most people miss, and it's tracking. You have to be able to track what you're doing online. And this is where I got really good. So when I used to be an elementary teacher, kind of got out of that. I taught for 8 years, won some nice awards, was recognized by Apple. I really enjoyed doing what I did. But at the end of the day, my wife and I, we had to go down through like the infertility route, and that's expensive, turns out.
Yep.
Teacher salary cannot pay for that. So I had to dive into the business world. And one of my first real opportunities came from an app company out of Japan. And it was run by MIT data engineers. And those folks like their data. And so for me to be valuable, I had to prove what I was doing to them. And so I immediately learned tracking. So how to connect clicks all the way down to customers, clicks to conversions, all of those. So once you understand how to do that, like you can start measuring what's actually working. So is it top down? Is it the inbound ads? Is it retargeting ads? Is it organic? Is it newsletters? Is it blogs? Like you can track all of that. And so once I started to understand how to track things, I applied that to some clients. And so a good client example was this gentleman named Matt. He revenued $14 million. And then what I came in and did was set up retargeting, set up inbound ads, set up tracking. And he had a great product, so I can't take credit for like all of this. But he went from $14 to $24 million in 1 year.
Well, you know, all of us listening have great products. And the biggest stress or challenge, I think, for any business is making sure that that product is being presented the right way to the person that's most likely to buy it. And that's the whole idea behind this.
Exactly.
Sorry to cut you off.
No. And Matt had a decently long sales cycle. So there's people who are interested. They'd come to his page, but they'd leave. And that's what I kind of took over. It's like, well, why aren't we just putting ads back in front of the people who literally want to buy from you?
Yep. And when they come and leave, I know you used this term earlier, and it wasn't just you using a slang. It's considered bouncing.
Yes.
And when you have Google Analytics connected to your website, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that does not cost anything.
No, it does
It
not.
is free.
Yes.
I've had Google Analytics for 10 years and can talk really analytical around that. Like, for example, I just looked recently, we've had over 4 million visitors to our website in 10 years.
That's awesome.
We've had 1 million visits off Google ad spend. We've generated 100,000 leads off of that. So when we talk analytics, I'm a nerd when it comes to analytics.
Yes.
And I don't remember which tangent I was on. So I'll hand it back
Well,
over
it's
to
just
you.
clients. And so I think one of the biggest clients that I can't really talk, I can talk around it.
Yeah.
But I was running this, there was kind of a 3-way partnership between a VR startup. It was a social media company that rhymes with pickpock and a Grammy award-winning artist who might have just been on the Super Bowl.
Oh, boy.
So-
well, you guys can do the deduction there. And
Yeah. And so where I played my role was setting up the architecture, setting up the tracking, setting up the analytics, and making sure that we're driving in proper traffic, and then we're making adjustments as we're going. So we're spending, I think we ended up spending $10,000, $15,000 on ads over a course of a few days. We had 100,000 opt-ins in just a few days. But one of the really cool thing about this was not only seeing it work, but seeing it work in real time. And then I was able to reach back out to the business running ads. And I know how to run ads, but that wasn't my role in this. And I said, hey, I'm looking in the Google Analytics. I'm looking in real time. I can see that this audience, you're spending a lot of money on it. It's not converting. So it's real time updates so that we can throw that money back into a high converting audience. And so back to what you said, like this game, yes, there's something to do with there has to be good content out there. You have to be, yes, there's something for retargeting, but it's also just thinking about it and looking at your analytics. It doesn't have to be a guessing game. And I think that's kind of probably something that I preach more than anything. It's just,
no, I love it.
yeah, you got to know how to think about it and then just go find the data.
And I call it clarity or flow. A lot of people know what that feels like in sports. But for us, what we recognized early on was that we needed to spend $1 to get someone to click, $10 to get someone to register, $500 to get someone to close. And in a world where we make $6,000 every time there's a close, we let the agent keep 50%, we keep 50%. We essentially are retaining $3,000 less the $500. It's a net $2,500 to us, which is a 5x return. And we had that figured out back in 2013. And what happened? Our team grew to be the fastest growing real estate team in history. What did we do? We turned on lead gen. What was our biggest bottleneck? Agents willing to work the leads, not the leads themselves. Lead gen is easy. It's having the right people in place to work them. So you named some really big names for those that took the time to rewind and listen to you, share who some of your client base is. I think it's fascinating that your ability through HACKTICS and everything that you've developed to dive into the analytics to help them make better decisions as to where they should target this information. So a lot of people listening today have small databases, maybe in Excel of 1,000 people. Hopefully they have a CRM like a Boomtown or a Sync that's capturing not only the leads that come in, but then what those leads are doing while on the site. And that is where HACKTICS comes into play in the business that you offer and what we're talking about today if someone wanted to try to do it on their own. And I think you had mentioned in the past, you have a program where if someone doesn't want to pay the money to have you guys do it, you'll actually coach them how to do it themselves. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, correct. So, and it just depends. There's business owners who are like, hey, I don't care about coaching. Do it for me,
Yep.
But then
That's me.
There's plenty of other people who are like, no, I want my team to know how to do this because they know the idea of spending money online. They see everybody do it effectively. They've been retargeted effectively. They know that you can do it. So there's plenty of people who want to go the route. So I've got a full coaching program. You can either go self-serve or you can hop on a phone call with me and we can see if it's a good fit.
So you are the person that people get?
Yes,
You're not
sir,
going to
for
hand
now.
them off to someone else?
Well, yes for now.
Okay.
Absolutely. I
The
plan on
entry
scaling
call,
this up. But
20 minutes with Jason.
no, it's just like, well, we'll see. I can scale funnels, can't scale my time. So we'll see. If it breaks, it breaks.
Perfect.
No, I do have like a $27 mini workshop.
$27.
Yes, which is called called Retargeting IQ.
Okay.
That, again, it goes back to how to think about this, how to set up your pixel and kind of all the technical backends, how to go into your Google Analytics and optimize it because it doesn't come optimized out of the box. Shocking that Google doesn't give you everything that you need
Right
out of the box.
Of course.
But then it shows you how to build audiences. So if people visit your website, how to build these audiences to put your ads back in front of your hottest prospects. Yep. And the thing is, like, you're driving people into your funnel, whether it's your time, your money, or your energy. And like what I kind of preach in this is like, let the internet do its thing.
Yep.
Everybody knows that this internet thing can work, but they might not know how to program it.
Sure.
So I try to give away the farm basically for $27.
All right.
And then,
that's amazing.
And then from there, people kind of decide to get into Funnel Accelerator or hop into one-on-one coaching.
Okay. So we have actually talked with Jason, obviously, beforehand. We're going to get you guys a special discount through Elite Real Estate Systems. And so all you have to do is go out to HACKTICS.com /ERS. So HACKTICS is HACKTICS.com/ERS. And if you don't go that route and you reach out to him through any other funnel and he asks where you've heard about us, just mention this podcast and he has some special discounts worked out for you guys.
Absolutely.
So I hired Jason a while back, probably over a year ago, to help me build a ClickFunnels page to generate recruiting leads. So it doesn't just have to be internet leads. There's a lot of different campaigns that we've been working on together, and one of which is recruiting. Some others were better predictable analytics and retargeting ads for leads that have come in the past, and then also people that have already closed with our company and retargeting them to upsell mortgage and insurance products. So there's all sorts of different things that we can do. But speaking specifically to the recruiting campaign, we bought a ClickFunnels page, super inexpensive. I think $100 a month or something. You can have up to 20 pages for $100 a month.
Yep.
And then we started our top-down funnel. And with recruiting, obviously, first and foremost, the lowest lying fruit would be agents that are licensed. We obviously want to go after people that aren't licensed as well. But there were some really neat strategies around this, so I just want to speak a little bit to it. So I'll break it down and then you fill in the gaps. So the idea was create a landing page, and if anyone wants to go check it out, it's up there right now, career.kwelite.com. Dependent upon where we placed that link, we have tracking code. So we know every person that comes in and registers, we know exactly which campaign they registered off of, because some are paid campaigns and some are not. So we are running Google ads. Anyone that searches get into real estate, get my real estate license, all the main terms, that little landing page will pop up. But then we also, every time our company sends out a listing, it says career opportunities and people can click on it and it takes them to that link. Every time we send out a blog or podcast email to real estate agents, it also has the clickable career link, and there's a few other campaigns. The thing I found fascinating that we did with our ClickFunnels and what I had learned in the past was you always want to give something for free. People don't want to have to be sold. They don't want to give a credit card. They just want to come and they need to have a reason. And you see this a lot online where there's like these CTAs or call to actions that give you something. And you're like, oh, what's it? You know, what's going to be the hook?
Yeah.
Right. Just like Google giving the Google Analytics for free and all the other products for free. And then of course there's a hook and there's an upsell. So with the ClickFunnels strategy around recruiting, for anyone wanting to implement this strategy in your own market, we just started off by giving away our listing presentation and our business plan. Pretty simple. They went to a landing page. There's a video of the office, career.kwelite.com. There's a video of the office. We did 40 videos in this room. We recorded 40 videos, FAQ, where we answered the top 40 questions that people were asking. And then we've just been playing with it. And it was interesting. We posted a couple days ago, and it's been the most successful post on social so far with this recruiting campaign. And it said, what your broker doesn't want you to know. That was our clickbait. What your broker doesn't want you to know. And they click on it, and then it's a video of me, or I think it's actually just like memes kind of going through some copy that I had written, and then it redirects them to that career page. So talk about that strategy, not only when it is regarding recruiting, but also lead gen and then retargeting leads, offering something for free and then moving into something that costs a little bit and then moving into something that costs a lot.
Yeah, well, I like that. And I'm going to add on one piece to that. So I think the biggest issue when it comes to online is people are aware that there are others out there just like completely full of it. So you have to give people value. But I think the main word is trust. People need to trust you. And so that's why you lead with value. And so this is to anybody listening, just kind of a tip for your retargeting. Like if you're driving people to a landing page and you want them to opt in and you're providing them with free value, and they don't opt in, retarget them with value. Retarget them with testimonials. Retarget them with education, showing them that you know what you're doing in the space so that they can come back. It's a game of building trust. And I think at that point, that's where once they do opt in, I think there is a bit of marketing there where you have to blend in scarcity. So give them value. And give them a time frame or something like that to take action in that. So, a lot of people are ready to take action. They just need to take that next step, and they know they need to take it, but sometimes they just need a little bit of an incentive. So if there's a price discount, if there's an extra thing and I don't even want to say price because it might not be price. When people are clicking on that landing page, they have a desired state. They're in a current state and they know where they want to get. And if they believe that you are that vehicle to get them to the desired state, then they want to, they're gonna believe you. And so that's kind of how you have to position yourself. So whether it's a discount or whatnot, I don't know what the vehicle is, but they need to trust that you are the one to get them to the desired
So here would
state.
be an example. So all the people listening have a database of some type. Let's call it a new client database of leads that are under $350,000 buyer point. Some markets, it's going to be higher for a first-time buyer, but let's say $300 to $350 is your first-time buyer price point in your marketplace. Instead of running ads for running a first-time buyer seminar to everyone in the world, what if you just ran retargeting ads to anyone that had registered on your website for homes under $350,000 in the last 6 months? That's a prime example of here is this key demographic. Here is this thing they want. If they trust you, you can bridge the gap to giving them this free seminar, bring them into your office. And that ad they see on Facebook or Instagram or an email that gets generated to them, that's going to be very different than everyone else in your market that's sending them what? Listing updates when they hit the market. Boring. Everybody does that. How do you differentiate yourself? And these are the types of campaigns we're talking about. There's infinite ways to do this, but the formula and the strategy is very similar.
Yeah. I think, if people are new to this retargeting game or just thinking about this, everybody understands this, whether you realize it or not, because the way that I really cut my teeth on this was building retargeting for e-com. In e-com, it's the most straightforward funnel on the planet because people are there to buy. So they're either going to buy or they're not going to buy. And if you think about like the stages of a funnel in an e-com funnel, it's they visit this website, they look at a product, they add it to their cart, they add their credit card info, and then they buy. And so if you're going to be retargeting people, if you were to say like, hey, Jason, who should I focus on first? You focus on the people who got out their credit card but didn't buy. And then next you'd back it up a step, people who added it to their cart but didn't buy, people who viewed a product. So in your funnel, or whoever's listening, like in your funnel, you need to just think backwards. And that's why I said you start from the bottom of the funnel up and
the
kind of
people
work
that closed
backwards.
on a house, those are the best people to be reaching out to. And they're say, well, what product would I have to sell to them? They just bought a house. They just told hundreds of people that they just bought a house. And out of those hundreds, 10 or 15 said, we want to buy a house or we want to sell a house. So that's probably one of the best markets to go to.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I do want to invite anyone listening. We have a in-person, despite the fact that in some places the world is still shut down. In Omaha, Nebraska, we can legally host an event up to 1,000 people. I don't think we'll get that many, but in March, we will be hosting a team building workshop. We usually get about 10 or 15 people. We will be able to practice social distancing for those that are concerned about COVID-19. You are allowed to wear a mask, obviously, if you're concerned about COVID-19. But we will be hosting in March our team building workshop. It's a 2-day event. We kick it off with a happy hour Sunday evening. Monday's all on investing. Tuesday's all on team building. We've hosted this hundreds of times with tens of thousands of people, and it is content rich. If you want more information about this event, we'd love to see you here in March. Just go out to eliterealestatesystems.com, click on the events tab at the top, and then our big event every year that we host once a year is going to be in May. It's going to be downtown Omaha at the Marriott Capital District, and that's our team building summit. For more information about that, all the keynote speakers, subject matter experts, etc., go out to the teambuildingsummit.com. Would love to see you guys both at the workshop and at the summit. They're very different events. Workshop's more hands-on, a little bit more of an intimate environment where you can engage with the owners and leaders, whereas the summit's going to be a lot bigger bang for the buck, but you're also not going to have as much hand-holding. It's not a workshop, it's an annual event. So would love to see you guys take advantage of both of those. If you got a lot of great content out of this interview today with Jason, give him a shout out on iTunes. We're working towards 1,000 reviews this year. I just kind of say that as in jest because last year it was working towards 100 reviews, and then when we hit 101, I said we're working towards 1,000 reviews, then 10,000 reviews. So please go out, though. Give a 5-star review for Jason's interview today. Give him a shout out. Give some credit back to him. And then, Jason, how can we get in touch with you if anyone has a follow-up question or just wants to send you some kudos?
Yeah, well, the best thing to do would be visit my website, HACKTICS.com. You'll probably get retargeted if you do.
That would be a great way for people to see how the retargeting campaign works.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I preach. It's like, come see the product in action before you decide if this is right or not. But otherwise, I try to put out free educational stuff on YouTube. Like I said, my passes as an educator, so I like to give out just free value and teach people how to think about this. And then you can reach out to me on Instagram as well at HACKTICS, or find me on Facebook as well.
At HACKTICS, HACKTICS.
That's right, sir.
Pretty simple. Awesome. Well, Jason, this has been an awesome interview. We definitely will have you come back on once we get down the road a little bit further with more results in Omaha with how we're taking advantage of everything that HACKTICS is doing. We will get on and nerd out the next time with some more analytics, maybe even include some screenshots of a few of the different things that we have going on the back end. So appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for having me, Jeff. I appreciate it, sir.
All right, man.
All right.